Yeah, you can keep your game face on if you want. Talk to me about motivation. What motivates you, Rich, to keep going last year and to keep going this year?
I think it's pretty good that you have both of us here, because I think the same thing kind of motivates both of us. And it kind of shifted for me in after 2010. Wasn't necessarily like personal glory, but wanted to do it to make other people proud. And now it's kind of shifted more towards. I think God has given me a unique set of skills, and that's what I want to use it for, to glorify Him, and to try to get His name out there. So for CrossFit, not for CrossFit as a whole, but there's as within any group, there's some that haven't seen the light. So it's kind of our way to push it. Yeah, not push it, but push it.
You don't wear that on your sleeve. Most people will be surprised to hear you say that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of wear it on my side.
Wears it on the side.
I know, but it's
right.
You're now reaching a much larger audience.
Larger.
No, I'm taking it beyond the core.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
People that know what a WOD is or a box is.
Yeah.
Or misinterpret all that stuff.
Right, and I think some people think that you get a negative perception of Christians that are, thump you with a Bible and keep thumping you.
Right.
You can do other stuff and still, do what we do.
So that's part of your athletic expression. You're in agreement. I mean, I saw you guys do a prayer together before the WOD today, but
in the same way, it's the 1 Corinthians, whatever you do, 10:31, whatever you do for the glory of God. And when you really think about that, what does that mean? When you think about the sacrifice that was made for us, that God sent His only Son to die a horrible death to kind of purchase us. When you apply that verse to whatever it is you're doing, it demands a full effort. It demands an extreme effort with whatever talent or gift that you have. And the other verse I try to think of is Acts 20:24, and that's basically saying that consider my life worth nothing to me if only I may finish the task set before me, the task of testifying of the gospel of God's grace. So those are the two kind of verses I carry with me for whatever I'm doing. And I happen to be really good at CrossFit, so that's one of the things that I want to let people know why I try so hard, why I do what I do. And in terms of like what you mentioned with Rich, reaching that broad-based audience now, and definitely I think you might feel a little pushback from that. People might not understand or not want to think that we're Bible thumping, but what I'd say is it's kind of a double standard. I've been thumped my whole life with how to live a different way, to live a life of drugs and alcohol and all those kind of things. It's like, what, I'm going to stand up for what I believe in and lead a life that doesn't put me up front but puts others up front, loving God and loving others.
Are you referring to the peer pressure of growing up in our society and normal Friday, Saturday night behavior?
Not even peer pressure. I mean, it's just society as a whole. Sex sells.
Yeah.
And it's what you're expected to do, But it's not necessary. You're living for something else. You're not living for the earthly things, because once this life passes, what do you have?
Mm-hmm. I've had a couple people ask me this weekend to ask you why you still work. They think you're wealthy now.
Not entirely wealthy. I mean,
is that part of the same motivation? I think you love your work.
I love what I do. I enjoy training people, training athletes. It's not wealthy by any means.
Are you good at it? Are you a good trainer?
I'd like to say I'm a good coach.
Let me step in on that. He's a great coach.
Appreciate that, Dan.
He did a very good job. I've seen him do it.
And you and I have spoken very briefly about the changes you've made to your training program since you moved to Cooksville.
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about that. There's more to it than just you're doing more volume. There has to be more to it than that, because that's silly and simple.
Yeah, there's more volume, but then it's in the way that we do more volume. Like anybody who thinks that we might do like 10 WODs a day, like straight, balls to the wall, red-lined workouts a day. That's just not the case. You can't win like that. You can't perform like that.
You would never recover.
No, right. So stuff gets broken up a little bit differently. Some of the things we do with work and rest ratios, we kind of play with a lot. In the overall grand scheme of things, we're getting in a lot more pounds lifted, a lot more weight moved, but it's the time that kind of separates things. And we're still a little bit different in how we do things. I might take a little more rest than he does. We each have our own kind of philosophy on it, but altogether, yeah, it has changed since I moved down there.
Who's programming your workouts now that the Open has started?
Us.
You are?
Yeah. Us.
Two of you together?
Yeah.
We take some ideas from Chip a little bit, the guy who's the head strength coach. He has us try stuff out every now and then that he might want to use with his athletes. So we'll throw that into the mix.
Test it out.
For
the most part, we're just like, all right, how you feel today? We have almost a set strength schedule, like what movement we're doing every day, but we don't really have a set program we follow. We kind of just shift that up.
Yeah.
Dan doesn't like that entirely too much. Sometimes he's more of a
have a plan,
and I'm like, don't have a plan. It stresses you out.
This is how I feel today.
Yeah.
Chip has said in interviews that he's learned from you.
Yep.
The true application of volume in an intelligent manner, as opposed to let's just do a hell of a lot of work.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you can't sustain that over the course of a year.
And people are like, well, you don't take any rest days. Well, my personal, just for me, a rest day is do something, but don't do it at all out intensity. I can't
effort.
just not move within a day, because the next day I'm more sore than I am if I've kept moving. So I try to at least low intensity or something, an active recovery type stuff. Like we'll go out and hike in the woods. My dad has a bunch of acres up on a mountain, so we'll just go randomly climb stuff, play paintball, do whatever.
Yeah.
Functional rest day.
Functional stuff.
Yeah, Rich, have you dramatically changed your training in any way since the games last July?
No, not at all, really.
Are you better today than you were in July?
I'd like to say I'm more fit than I was.
Uh-huh.
We'll see. I guess that's why we do what we do, right?
What about you, Dan?
Yeah, definitely more fit.
You're bigger.
Yeah, bigger. I've gained probably about 8 to 10 pounds.
Yeah.
So there's a little trade-off with that in terms of cardio, but I'm definitely able to handle more medium weights for higher reps for longer periods of time. I think that's part of gaining that weight, gaining some of that specific strength. But the cardio will come within these next couple months. Some of the stuff we're going to start doing, pick that up a little bit. Might lose a little strength, but it'll be a good trade-off.
Do you have a firm nutritional theme that you follow? I've watched and listened to your interviews, but where do you stand today?
No. Dan, you want to take that one?
People are so going to hate you.
When you talk about paleo and zone, I know for me personally, like paleo is not for performance. Like I can't perform when I eat strict paleo. I don't know if that's just because of the way my body is, but it's not enough for me. I can't get enough calories out of a giant bowl of broccoli. So I've jumped a little bit on the bandwagon of peanut butter and milk just for the fat content, raising those calories up that way. But for the volume of training and like how much we do, like you can kind of get away with a little bit more leeway.
I think people would be surprised at how many calories I don't consume, really.
Yeah, actually that surprised me a lot. I know they always show them just scarfing peanut butter and milk down in the videos, and that's not the case. That's not always the case, but you'd be surprised how actual little he eats during the day.
It's surprising how much weight I can keep on with this minimal caloric intake. I don't know what it is.
Be interesting to see if you ate like 4 squares a day, like how big you'd be.
How much do you weigh?
About 195, 196.
How much do you weigh, Dan?
174, 175.
What's going to happen in July this year?
Hopefully 1-2 right here, but I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of great guys, great competitors. You never know. You never know with the events. You never know with Dave Castro programming the game. So we'll see.
That's true. Do you worry about injuries?
No, you can get injured walking across the street and get hit by a car or something.
Okay. Nice.
Take the precautions, warm up properly, cool down properly if you have to. Ice stuff that hurts. He never does it. I do.